Good morning. You're listening to Table for Two with Naomi Nachman on the Nachum Segal Network. We are right here on the Lower East Side. I'm so excited. This is one of my favorite shows of the year, and we're going to get to that in just a minute. I'm Naomi Nachman, and I'm about all the food all the time. I love food. I love shopping for it, cooking it, eating at restaurants, anything food related. I'm a personal chef. I'm a cookbook author. I love everything food related. So anytime you don't feel like cooking, you can give me a call and I can even cook it for you. You can find me on the AussieGourmet.com, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest. Yeah, got them all. All right, and now on the Nachum Segal Net YouTube channel, so you can watch all of our shows anytime, because seeing is believing. Not that we don't love radio, and we love it, but we have a really nice component of children and young adults that actually like to watch our YouTube channel, and we kind of bring the inside of this iconic studio to you in your homes, or on your laptops or your iPhone, so you get to watch us right here, having all the fun as well, all the laughing. You get to see a little bit more behind the scenes. I have a great lineup. It has been a very long time since I've had Brent Dillman on the show from The Cheese Guy. My favorite cheeses. I love all his stuff, different than any of the other amazing companies that I've worked with as well. But I'm very excited to have a cheese and wine pairing. And who else do I have with my wine pairing? Gabriel Geller from Royal Wines. And we are going to have 1 hour, me and ZK, and the two gentlemen to my left, wine and cheese pairing. And we're doing this for our Shavuos Fest. We're literally counting down till... how many? I don't even know where we're up to. A couple of weeks ago, I'm actually still counting. There's a Spira app that I'm using that really helps me. I was in the middle of doing some recipe development last night on my computer, typing away some recipe instructions. My phone goes off. Have you counted the omet today? And I literally stopped and I stood up and made the bracha, so I'm still in it. I do want to give a shout out to Doma in the Five Towns. I was there. I haven't had a chance to give them this, to share this with everyone yet. I was there for brunch a couple of weeks ago. They have an amazing brunch menu. Even though they're a steakhouse, they do an amazing brunch menu. I know that Gabriel was there with we went with your wife?
Yeah, of course.
It's amazing.
It is awesome.
It's crazy how they kind of like took breakfast foods, fleshiked them up a little bit.
Yep.
But, you don't go there at 10. They're only open from 12. So it's really lunch brunch, but with breakfast foods.
Absolutely.
It was...
chicken and waffles and stuff like that.
Frittatas.
Yeah.
A fleshik frittata. How about that?
But Doma for me is all about their tomahawk steak.
I've never had their tomahawk steak.
You must. I usually say, and I apologize to all who might be offended by these words, but I usually avoid going to a restaurant to eat steak. I can make steak at home. I don't need to go to a restaurant for that.
I say that too, Gabriel.
Yeah, I want special food. But
really?
The tomahawk steaks and the steaks in general at Doma are insane.
Really? You think I should? I actually learned that from Mike Gershkovitz from Mike's Bistro. And I went there and I ordered a steak, and he came out afterwards to say hello, and he's like, "You ordered a steak at my restaurant?" Because the cow does all the work.
Yeah.
I always say you buy it. So I took that with me, and I always remember what Mike told me. He goes, have something the chef made. Like cow, it's up to how good the meat is on the cow. That will be how good the steak is. So I always say you can buy a great steak at Gourmet Glatt and cook it up yourself just right, or sous vide, or in the cast iron, or on the barbecue.
Exactly.
But yeah, okay, so that's good to know. So joining us as well is Brent Dillman. How are you?
Hey,
We're going to catch up a little bit.
It's great to be here again.
It's so exciting.
It's been a long time.
Yeah, it's been a little while. We finally coordinated, and I want to hear what you've been up to. What is new in the cheese world and in Brent's world?
Yeah,
you had
all right.
a son in the army last time we spoke.
Yeah, he finished the army, and very proud of him. Shout out to my son Ari in Israel. He's still there. He stayed on after his service. He's going to IDC, studying business in Herzliya. Yeah. He did a 3-year stint in one of the special forces, EGOS. So,
what's that? EGOS?
EGOS.
Isn't it God? EGOS mean nut?
It's one of the elite units.
Yeah, it does mean nut, but not in his case. So, it's a unit that they're actually one of the special forces of the Golani Brigade.
Wow.
And, very, very proud.
We need him on the show. I want to hear what inspired him to join the Israeli army, an American kid going off to Israel.
Yeah.
Was he learning there? Or?
He was. He went to high school for a couple of years in a program in Hod HaSharon
Okay.
called Na'aleh,
Mm-hmm.
and decided to. Are you familiar with it?
Absolutely.
Gabriel? Yeah. And he decided to stay on afterwards, and he actually organized a number of the students, the American students. Actually, it's an international body, but primarily Americans. And he organized a group of them to sort of like a pre-army training program. And so in his senior year, right before he was ready to graduate, he decided, hey, I'm going to go for this. And he started training. He trained for about almost a year to get into one of the special forces. He was determined that he wanted to do it right. And, you know, as an American and as an Olei Chadash and a lone soldier, he could have served a lesser time, but he decided he wanted to do the full course.
No, we're now talking a week after Yom Ha'atzmaut, you know,
Yeah.
so it's kind of still special. We still have the feel, 70 years.
Yeah. So, yeah, like
He's
I say,
part
very
of that.
proud. Very proud. So we, actually just got back a couple of weeks ago from visiting him in Israel. We were there for Pesach.
Oh, fun!
And it was wonderful, wonderful.
Did you take a cheese foodie tour while you were there? Was there anything
We went to a
around?
couple of wineries. Yeah, you know, wineries during Pesach there that's the thing to do.
Oh, right. Of
But
course.
you know that they have nowadays many dairies in Israel, and they make really amazing cheeses. You don't need to look for imported cheese in Israel anymore because they have a lot of great stuff there.
Yeah, they're doing wonderful work on cheese in Israel. In the past, I've visited a lot of the dairies, a lot of the dairy farms there with my son in the Army. Sometimes I would find myself killing a little bit of time while waiting for him to show up to get leave from the Army to come to see me. So I'd invariably find myself visiting cheese farms.
There you go.
She's very pretty. Yeah. So it was a lot of fun. I've been to a number of them. This time, no, we didn't get to go to any dairy farms, but we went to Psagot
Very nice.
right.
Winery. Yeah, Gush Etzion.
Oh, I love that winery.
Yeah.
And they let us go pick the
Great
grapes
picks.
afterwards.
Oh yeah,
They were like massive grapes, like really like what the
spice.
saw, like
Yeah.
these giant grapes.
Wow.
I wonder
Oh,
which
that's amazing.
variety that was, because most wine grapes are usually pretty small compared to table grapes.
They were huge. Maybe they were just there for the
I don't-
tourists. They could have been just for the tourists to pick.
It could have been, or it might be a variety that has actually pretty big berries.
was
I'm
in-
trying to think which
it was
one.
in
Could
2010.
be, could
It
be
had a
Chardonnay.
restaurant
Chardonnay is not that big. But
It had a restaurant attached to it. Mm-hmm. Do you know which
yeah,
one?
that's Gush Etzion.
Gush Etzion.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Fantastic. One of the best dairy restaurants in Israel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We made sure to hit that. That was in 2010. So
Cool.
there was a Chamsin back then. So there was a big change with the wines when they
that's
came
true.
out a couple of years later. They had a different taste, I believe. Then
Yeah, it was difficult here in Israel because 2010 was very hot, and
Yeah.
you know it's Israel. So when you say very hot in Israel, you can only imagine what it feels like.
come in.
But some of the better wineries managed to make really good wine, and others had some substandard stuff.
Right. You know, it's amazing how really God has his hand in everything we do, from the weather, which affects our wines, to our cheese production, right? Like everything is really
That's true,
Yad Hashem.
100%.
Yeah, absolutely.
We do our ishtadlut. We do what we
Right.
have and should do, but at the end of the day, it all depends on Hashem.
Right. Absolutely. Okay, so we've had a
So-
little catch up about the family.
Yeah, and I hear you've been traveling as well.
I've been traveling a lot. So in the last 15 months, I want to say I've been in 10 countries. So that's pretty cool. Plus numerous states in the last year and a bit. So it's been a wild ride. I'm going to India soon. So
Cool.
I
Is there
know.
anything kosher there?
right. So there is. Well, we'll be going with our own chef. I'll be
Yeah.
going with on a kosher tour,
Okay, cool.
so I don't have to worry about that. But it's been a wild ride. I love traveling. I have a very big travel bag. I think it's very Australian also to be very into traveling. So I'm like very excited that I've gotten to see that. And when I travel, I want to experience all the Jewish culture that goes on. Where the Jews eat, how they eat, what they eat. Even I watch even the non-kosher food, right? Like I look and I observe where are they sourcing the food from? You know, is it seasonal, farm to table? Like I want to see everything about its culture. I was in Bangkok, and street food galore. Like, I don't know if you've traveled much.
Yeah,
have you
sure.
been to Bangkok?
I haven't been to Bangkok.
So
though,
have
no.
you been, Gabriel?
No, I have not.
It is unbelievable. And number one, the kebabs there are unbelievable.
Do they make authentic Thai food in the Chabad?
Okay, yes, they do.
House?
Which is
Yeah,
really
they
cool.
do.
They had an Asian menu, meaning like Chinese food. They had American food, they had Israeli food, and then they had Thai food, which is, the tom kha kai, the coconut chicken soup, and they had pad Thai and all the traditional,
All that kind of stuff,
couple
yeah.
of, it's not a huge menu, but, there's more hamburgers and hot dogs. I have to say they make a really good hamburger at that Chabad house in Bangkok. But so right outside the big Chabad house is the backpackers district where they have tons of street food. So even though I couldn't eat anything, I just ate with my eyes, and I got some inspiration about flavors and stuff that we could use back at home. But yeah,
Wow.
it's always fun.
Also, yeah, to mention, I just remembered I was recently in Portugal too, which is fascinating in terms of kosher. So I met my son sort of in the happy medium, right in the middle place in Portugal. He flew from Israel and I flew from the States. And we stayed in Lisbon in a place called Kosher in Lisbon. And it's a couple. There's only about 10 Jewish families in Lisbon, in a city of a few million people, which is unbelievable because at one time
Was it
Portugal
huge?
was,
A big Jewish community.
before the
This is-
Inquisition. And so now it's a very small community. We went to a shul there in Lisbon, and we stayed. So we ate authentic Portuguese kosher food in this kosher in Lisbon.
What is authentic Portuguese food?
So they have there's a lot of cheese.
Farty.
They do have a lot of cheese and wine, but it's a lot of meat and a lot of seafood. And yeah,
I'm gonna go there.
Yeah. Oh, it was fascinating. So the couple is originally French, so there was a twist of little French Portuguese style food that they were serving, and there are a lot of fish. You say so. Sardines are Portugal is known for their sardines.
Oh, I know. I had sardines
and
in
tuna
Italy.
and fresh fish. Yeah.
And
And so I was fortunate enough to go up north in the mountainous region of Portugal and helped make some cheese in the only kosher cheese facility in the country.
oh wow.
And I was put in touch with them by a mutual friend, and they originally started by catering to a local community there that is made up of anusim or conversos, people that trace their roots back to their ancestors being Jewish, and they've sort of returned to Judaism. They carried on a lot of interesting traditions. They lit candles on Friday night, and they didn't eat pork and shellfish and things like that, and they never knew why. So a lot of them trace their roots now, especially with the internet.
Right.
They've
It's
been able to
amazing.
trace
and all
the
the
root-
genetic
so-
testing that you can do now. I
That's
can tell
right,
you which
yeah.
part of Europe, which town, what street you lived on.
Yeah. So there's a big community in the north of Portugal, and so this producer decided that he wanted to start producing some kosher cheese for this community. So anyway, we went up there, and he makes sheep milk cheese. It's just phenomenal stuff. So I stood around for a day helping to make some kosher
It's
cheese in
so
Portugal.
cool. I want
Yeah.
to come with you on one of your cheese making projects. We've talked about this for
Yeah.
years. I've got to come to the cheese cave.
Yes. You still haven't made it.
I know. It's crazy. Okay, we're going to do it. Okay, good. All right, so I think it's time now to start with some wine and cheeses. So why don't we start off
There we go.
with Gabriel, and we're going to talk about what he's got and what Brent is going to pair that with.
Okay. So I brought a bunch of wines, and I see that Brent brought a bunch of cheeses.
I actually put them in
Great
touch
stuff.
with each
That's
other.
also
and I
my
said, "Guys,
favorite cheeses. so-
Please coordinate what we've got. Are these all Chav Israel?
No, they're not. There are some.
Let me know which ones are which.
Okay, sure. Absolutely. So, from the beginning, I have a Gruyere style cheese that is Chalav Yisrael. I also have a sheep milk cheese, but I'll tell you what, when we get to them?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right,
yeah,
well,
you'll tell
'cause
us
we're
when
gonna-
we're up to it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're starting with the Havarti, right?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
so
Okay.
you guys coordinate. I'm just going to conduct this show because these guys really know everything.
So for the Havarti, I would pair that with a nice dry Riesling from California. It's
Okay.
funny. I happen to be bringing a wine from Agafen almost every time I come, and the last time I brought the off-dry Riesling from Lake County.
That was
from,
amazing,
from
I'm
Agafen.
just saying.
This time I brought the dry one, more sharp. Great acidity, but really
But it's
dry.
white.
And that pairs well with a lot of cheeses. and I believe that it will go very nicely with the Havarti.
Okay, that's good.
So the Havarti, yeah. Okay, I was going to mention that Havarti is a very creamy cheese. It's normally fairly bland, but our Havarti has been aged a while longer, so it has more of a bite to it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Havarti is originally a Danish cheese, and here in the United States, people generally use it as a melting cheese.
He's filling up the wine. Very classy wine glasses. Okay, I took the train in this morning to the Lower East Side, and I didn't want the LIRR and then their subway, so I couldn't schlep my box of glasses from KFWE 2014. So we are using plastic glasses, which I do apologize for, everyone. Okay, this smells amazing. Okay, I love the smell of this wine. Okay, so you can smell it in plastic. It definitely doesn't have the full aroma.
It's much more difficult, and that's why wine glasses are so important.
I know. So let's talk about glasses and what we're going to be and cheese boards. I am doing a giveaway with one tabletop in Monsi. So this is a marble cheese board. This is actually mine from my house, but we're going to do a giveaway of a cheese board just to show you what you'll be getting. So you'll be getting something like this or similar. So you have to follow one tabletop. And Brent is going to send you some cheeses to put on your cheese board for Shavuot because the countdown is on. So make sure to follow one tabletop and the cheese guy on Instagram.
Absolutely.
And, of course, the Nachum Segal Network. That goes without saying, peoples. Okay.
We'll throw in some crackers in there, too.
Ooh.
Cheese guy crackers.
Yeah. Just talk about that for a minute.
So this is a project that I've embarked upon over the last couple of years, developing these crackers. I have two flavors.
Oh, fun.
Two varieties, yeah. One is the plain classic, and the other is rosemary.
Okay.
And they're made in Italy. They're produced in southern Italy, the Basilicata region of southern Italy, in a small bakery, and they are baked, and they are not fried.
Are they parve?
So they are parve, yeah.
Okay.
OU certified and parve, so I will.
Okay, let's start. Put them on the cheese board
Put them on,
with our own plate. By the way, this is marble. It's really heavy. I schlepped it in my knapsack on the train. I was like, Okay.
And I'm going to
put
the creamy. Gabriel, why don't you take? So the Havarti is not Chalav Yisrael. This is Chalav Stam, and we are going to put the Havarti
put on the cheese board. We're not going to actually build a cheese board.
That's for another show.
Right, that's for another show.
That could take up an entire show.
We did a cheese board once, and you taught me about honey and cheese and jam and cheese.
Yeah.
So I've taken all my knowledge I've learned from you the last couple of years, and I did a chocolate, wine, and cheese pairing on my Pesach program. Ooh. The chocolates were amazing with cheeses. I couldn't believe it. They had this Ram Caterers had this amazing chocolate guy. I'm going to try to find the name and give it out on the show in the next couple of weeks. I'm drawing a blank now. And we made a ganache out of like crazy chocolate and cream. We ate it with cheese. Mind-blowing.
It's phenomenal. It's
right?
An amazing pairing.
The salty,
Wow.
Okay.
So the Havarti, try a little bit.
Okay.
Do you, Gabriel? Do you normally suggest? Obviously, I'm the cheese guy, so I suggest eating cheese first before the wine. Do you?
Yeah.
Do you? What is your normal?
I don't think that there is
right
necessarily an order. You can first drink or first eat. Doesn't matter.
Okay, this is so good.
I'm really happy about my wine pairing.
Is a good one. So I'm having the cheese and the cracker together. I tried a little of the cheese separately and a little of the cracker separately.
Okay.
And I'm going to crunch. ZK's going for more. Someone has to talk while I chew.
Do you get some of that bite in the Havarti?
Absolutely.
Okay.
It's got a lot of depth to it.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu b'chol pekafen.
Amen.
Man.
Oh, what a great combination.
So, yeah, if you let the cheese linger on your tongue a little bit, and we'll get into this in more depth during the program, but one of the things is that the fat in the cheese sort of coats your tongue, and that wine breaks up,
cuts through
the fat, and adds that sweet
flavor.
This has Am I getting a little bit citrusy, some citrusy notes?
Some I would say even citrus pith, and green apple peels, and the mineral, which is even a little bit like there's some perceived saltiness to the wine, a little bit of it that goes very, very well with
I'm
the
not
cheese.
tasting the saltiness, but
Go ahead, try.
I'm trying it.
To the back.
I'm no
end.
Gabriel Geller. It's hard for me to. I'm NN. He's GG. This is so good. Okay, so what do we have next to try?
Okay, I'm going to go with the cheddar. So I've got a couple different varieties of cheddar. These are also Chalav Stam. The first one is a raw milk cheddar.
What do you mean by raw milk? I don't understand what that means.
So raw milk is unpasteurized milk that has not been pasteurized. It goes into the making of the cheese. So there's all kinds of interesting rules and laws regarding raw milk. It's illegal.
Government laws.
Correct.
Not halachic laws. Okay.
Correct. It's illegal in most states to sell raw milk to the public. There are ways that farmers can sell directly to consumers, and it's not considered a real monetary transaction. But cheese is a different story. You can age cheese. If you make cheese using raw milk, it must be aged a minimum of 60 days. So there's a lot of foodies out there who love the real French type soft bloomy rind cheeses, things like brie and camembert and the real stinky
That's
cheeses.
made with more. That's made
In
with
general,
raw milk.
those from France are made with raw milk. So those are illegal to import. They must be pasteurized. So here in the United States, everything must be pasteurized or aged a minimum of 60 days, at which time it's sort of an arbitrary ruling, but they figure that the salt and all the enzymes and the cultures in the cheese have really, and it does, they kill off all that bad bacteria. We preempt all that bad bacteria from growing by putting in good bacteria into the milk. That's part of the cheese making process. And all of those organisms, microorganisms, they sort of take over. And in 60 days, the cheese ages, and we assume that all bad bacteria has been killed off at that point. So we are allowed to eat.
Eat at your own risk.
Yeah, no. But if you read any studies, the chances of obtaining any foodborne illnesses from raw cheeses are so
just
minimal.
Give me some. I'll try it. I'll take one for the team.
Rare meat and sushi and all these other things you're more likely to get.
This is regular. This is half stam also.
Right. So
Okay.
this is
By the way, I
the
suggest you
sharp
use
cheddar.
another glass to pour out or spit
glass.
your wine.
Okay.
So we
Okay.
can move on to the next.
Okay, I'm leaving my wine over here. Okay.
Okay.
I have plenty more plastic cups. Okay.
Okay.
So what am I doing with this? Oh, you didn't fill it.
I didn't feel
You
it
gave
yet.
me an empty glass.
Yeah,
Hello.
you can either just keep the
gonna
Riesling
keep
on
it
the
on the
side.
side.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, because I'm going
And
to finish that
I'll
one.
pour you some.
Okay, now I'm pouring it back to fill it up.
Tabor Adana Sauvignon Blanc 2017, brand new vintage, fresh.
Look at the color on that.
It's like
Fantastic.
almost like
It looks
water.
clear,
Why is it
doesn't
so
it? Yeah.
clear?
So young Sauvignon Blanc.
Okay, let's give ZK. Okay, did you get the first one? Yeah, you did. ZK's only having little sips because he's got to engineer the show. He has to do the beep. Yeah. You look like you're a pilot, by the way, can I just say? All right. All right.
Can I take just from I'm getting peaches. I don't know.
This is amazing.
Yeah. Right. Peaches, apricots. I don't know.
You see, this one is so aromatic that even in those plastic cups,
Oh,
you get it.
it's tingling on my tongue, right? Like it tingles. ZK, what do you think? Yeah, ZK's impressed. We get a lot of good stuff.
Yeah,
But
this is nice.
Gabriel knows how to bring the best stuff to us.
So it's easy to drink. What gives it the effervescence?
Okay. So sometimes when they bottle the wine, they at bottling they use some CO2, and sometimes when you open a bottle of wine, you get some of that residual CO2 in the bottle, which usually blows off after 10-15 minutes from opening the bottle.
This is really
Interesting.
interesting. Okay, so we're
Yeah.
having this with our...
With the sharp raw milk cheddar.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And since we already tried a little bit of the wine, we tasted a little bit of the wine. Let the cheese sit on your tongue, sit on your palate a little bit. Mm-hmm. We're kicking it up a bit. The other one had a slight sharpness, a slight bite. This should have more of a bite to it. And one of the things with the positive aspects of we even have some
We have
background music that we didn't ask for.
There's street music coming in.
Can we
Literally.
start? This is New York,
Right?
New York, guys.
We can start dancing on the studio tables. Okay.
So I should have brought.
I don't know if they can hear
Let's
that.
see. Do I have any of my
There's some street
South
music
American
coming in.
made
This is
cheeses
Lower
for
East
us? A little
Side.
bit of Latin flavor. So this cheese, couple of the advantages to or the benefits of a raw milk cheese. Why do people go for it? Number one is the health aspects to it.
I don't know if they can hear that on the radio. They can't hear it.
No.
So we're hearing, just to let you know why we kind of pause there. There's some street music going on outside the studio on Grand Street. So it's filtering in a bit, but I'm not sure it's translating. So we can hear it, but I don't know if the radio can. Okay.
So yeah, raw milk cheeses, the health benefits. Number one, they have the real taste and the real probiotics, actually, the real bacteria. So when you pasteurize milk, you kill off almost all of the bacteria, the good and the bad.
Right.
So by not pasteurizing and raising the temperature up, but not to the point of pasteurization, we keep a lot of the good bacteria in the cheese. So that's the health benefits. A lot of people buy for the probiotics. And then the taste, as hopefully you can taste, is that they say that, and I believe, that you could taste the real taste of the milk. The real taste of the milk. Because a lot of that bacteria also, when you boil the water, when you pasteurize it, it kills off the bacteria and it also kills off the flavors. So you get really what the cows are eating when they're grazing in the fields through the raw milk. So any thoughts on the pairings or the cheese?
And this cheese is fantastic. It's harder than the Havarti. Saltier also. Very rich cheese. But I don't feel like it's as fatty as
Not the package. Just one hot. Yeah, it's not as fatty.
It's not as fatty as the Havarti, which is a good thing because it goes better with this Sauvignon Blanc, which has very good acidity, but not as intense as the Agave and Riesling. So it pairs, I believe, better. Although the Agave will also be more than fine with it.
I just held up to the screen so people can see the cheese that you're talking about. Do you just want to pass me the wine bottle so people can see how well these went together? And I've never seen like the little bit of fizz. This is the one that had the little bit of...
Yeah, absolutely.
That went really nicely together. We'll leave that here. And that was the first wine that we drank. For those of you who are watching us as well as listening to us on the Nachum Siegelnet YouTube channel, which is very exciting for us. We have a really nice audience that likes to watch our shows, especially kids. We get a lot of kids that watch.
And including my 21-year-old daughter, Maya.
Yeah.
Shout out to Maya. Yeah, she's a big fan.
Thanks.
She's a big fan, yeah.
Thanks for watching.
Follows you on Instagram as well. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she knows. I'm a big fan of you guys too. So.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's move right along as we are hitting our halfway mark through the show. This is Table for Two with Naomi Nachman on the Nachum Siegel Network. We are very excited to have right here on the show Brent Delman from The Cheese Guy, and we have Gabriel Geller from Row Wine Corporations joining us and doing a wine cheese pairing just in time for Shavuot. So we are excited to try all these new wines and cheeses together. I never know what these guys are going to bring. When I set up this show, I put them in touch with each other. I'm like, guys, work it out. Let me know what you're bringing.
Yes.
You don't need to let me know. Just do it amongst yourselves, and I'll be here to orchestrate and taste. Right, CK?
And Gabriel's great at this. I'm challenging him now. I have another cheddar.
Oh, another cheddar?
And
it's one of my favorites,
CK's had
the
enough
craft
wine.
beer cheddar. I think it's brilliant.
Which one?
Thank you. Our craft beer cheddar.
Oh, I love that. Is that Chabsor?
This is not.
Okay, I just, I like to let our audience know.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely smelling in plastic is so different than wine glass. Oh.
Yeah, it's not just the stick, you know.
It's not just, I promise you, it's really not stick. When I talk about using wine glasses, it really makes a big difference. Like, I know that I would get real different smells and aromas from this if it was in a... Yeah? Oh, my gosh.
So
okay.
this is a fancy wine. So I decided to go for a red wine also. I think that white and rosé in general.
Terra di Seta? Is that
That's
the
Terra
one?
di Seta, absolutely.
Oh, in Italy.
There you go.
Let me just hold this up.
So I think that rosé, white wines, sparkling wines go wonderfully with most cheeses. But red wines, most people think, oh, wine and cheese, and there are a lot of people who, stick to red wine, or when they think about the wine, they automatically think about red wine. But actually, white wines, both with cheese and in general, are usually easier to pair with food. I mean, obviously, a white wine is not so appropriate for steak. But with cheese, with fish,
as we talk
pasta.
About our Shavuot food, our upcoming Shavuot food.
Yeah. So there are some red wines that are actually wonderful with cheese. A nice Chianti like this one, or Pinot Noir like the Vitkin that we're going to share in a few minutes. So this is the Terra di Seta Gran Selezione.
I love how he talks. I love his accent. I know that's funny coming from me, but...
Chianti Classico 2013, a new vintage. It's a young wine.
And where in Italy is it from?
Tuscany.
Tuscany. Okay, they have a winery, a kosher winery there, and you can obviously because
it's 100% kosher winery in Italy. It was the first fully kosher winery in Italy. It's an estate winery,
and you can go there and have a wine tasting.
Absolutely,
and have that olive oil.
You can even stay there. They have cabins, something like that, rooms.
No way.
It's beautiful. I mean, I've seen the pictures. I have not been there yet. Hopefully, maybe next year. And it's gorgeous. It's really in the middle of Tuscany for the wonderful views. The scenery is apparently incredible
that
from
sounds
the
so nice.
picture. There's a swimming
I'm having
pool.
a 25th wedding anniversary coming up. I think that sounds like a nice trip.
Yeah, there you go.
Just the question is before or after India. I'm just joking.
It's well worth the trip, I believe.
I'll be in Italy next month actually for the big Cibus show, CIBUS.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, the Italian food show. So actually this year they're flying me out, and there's some other kosher buyers, and they're gonna cater full kosher meals and everything for.
Do you need me to come with you? I'm happy to go and represent.
Run the
Instagram account.
Now he wants to be
I don't feel bad for.
Yeah. I know, right?
Thailand, Panama, Vietnam.
Yeah. But it's all working. I work on these trips.
Oh, I'm sure you do. I'm
very hard. I promise.
So
what's this
all right,
one?
so this is the craft beer cheddar, and like I say, it's a challenge. This could be a challenge for even a wine expert like Gabriel, but I think he pulled it off. So
let's see.
So it's this wine with that cheese.
It is. It's this wine with this cheese, and what it is.
I'm stealing some Kagan.
This is a Vermont cheddar, and it's made.
Is ZK?
This is ZK. This is an aged cheese. So it's
Be
careful. no.
So good.
Quite au contraire. It contains no lactose. It's been aged for over a year. All the lactose. Yeah. So the lactose has been broken down. A lot of people aren't aware of this, but those that are lactose intolerant or have difficulties with lactose. So cheeses generally that are aged, the harder cheeses like a Parmesan, a Pecorino Romano, cheddars, things like that, they the lactose breaks down over time, and generally over 6 months you figure that they are lactose free. So a good aged cheese like this should be no problem for somebody who has difficulty with lactose.
Oh, this is.
And so just to give you a little bit of information on the cheese itself. So as I said, it's a Vermont made cheese. I go up there every couple of months and help them make the cheese, stirring the curds. And it's actually made on one farm. It's considered a farmstead cheese, sort of like an estate wine, where all of the milk comes from this particular breed of cows and all of the cows on this particular farm. So you know exactly where all the milk comes from.
It's so similar, the two. I mean, maybe that's why they go so well together, and they've been doing wine and cheese pairings for hundreds of years. because it's the same
Thousands,
process.
right? Sure. You know, I like to say it basically boils down to today we're tasting fermented milk and fermented grapes. Yeah. That really, right?
Oh, that's so nice.
Breaks down.
It's really true.
Yeah.
Right? It's
So
all about the
that's
terroir.
simplistic. Yeah, that's right. The terroir, yeah, a lot of other factors,
I'm
but yeah.
so fancy using that word, terroir. I learned that from you guys.
So
Okay.
the cheddar then, what we do is we make the cheddar, and before the cheddar becomes a full-fledged cheese, it is curds. So everybody's heard or familiar with curds and whey. So the curds are the solid, and the whey is the liquid that drains off. And most of milk is actually water, especially in cow's milk. So we try to extract most of that water, which is the whey. It has a little bit of protein and some other minerals and different things in it. But we extract the whey and we leave back the protein, which becomes the curds. And what we do with this cheese is we soak those curds in a couple different types of beer. So this one in particular, I use only local craft beers. So this cheese actually has a following amongst beer aficionados, other than cheese lovers. So beer aficionados, a lot of them that follow this cheese wait to see which is the next beer we're going to use in the
Do you
production
change
of our
up the
cheese.
beers?
I do. And although
do you
I
know
think
which one's
so,
which?
this one, so they normally have a sticker. We put a sticker on to indicate which brewery we use. This one we used Yonkers Brewery up near me. Their IPA and their stout, their dark beer. And then next, we're going to be partnering, and we just made a production with Bronx Brewing Company.
I love that
And
you
they're
keep it local.
Oh, yeah. And they're great people. And, you know, here we're based in the New York area. We like to support local. So the next one, like I say, is going to be coming out probably a couple of months from now. We're using the Bronx Brewery No Resolution and the Bronx Brewery American Pale Ale. So in the meantime, this has... So what you're getting, we always use some sort of an IPA. And an IPA.
Indian Pale Ale.
That's right.
I know that sounds funny with my accent, right? I feel like it's like a lot of emphasis on that. Indian Pale Ale. I don't know, you say it.
I just call it IPA.
Right, but that's what it is. I'm just like,
You
no,
don't
in case
bother.
you
Yeah.
don't know. 'Cause
My Midwest
listeners-
accent wouldn't do well either.
Not everyone knows.
Right. No, absolutely.
I'm
Absolutely.
Trying to
Yeah.
I'm trying to break it down for everyone.
100%. So, so we put these couple of different beers in there, and the IPA, the India Pale Ale, works very well with it because it's a very hoppy beer.
Right.
And so, I don't know, did you get that in the cheese?
Oh, it is so there. It's like
Yeah.
front and
Spot
center, right? Do you feel that the hoppiness is front and center in that
Absolutely.
cheese?
By the way, this cheese won Best Cheese Award at the Kosher Show last year.
I remember that.
remember
I
that?
was like, nachas. Okay, so what's this one?
So, no, this is the same
Oh,
one.
it's
so this
more.
is-
He's kind of
so-
more cheese
so-
because we ate it all.
So why did I choose this wine
Yeah.
to go
Yeah.
with this cheese? So the Terra di Sera, first of all, they make 3 Chiantis, 3 wines from the Chianti Classico appellation, which are all Sangiovese, the Classico, the entry level, which is also fantastic and really great value. It's under $20. It's fantastic wine. Is 95% Sangiovese and 5% Cabernet Sauvignon, but the other ones are 100% Sangiovese. This is their flagship wine, the top wine from Terra di Seta. It's about $50
So
in the
it's
stores.
high QPR. Is that what they say?
This is a high-end wine. It is also a very good QPR, even though it's expensive.
For what it is,
for the quality, for the complexity of this wine, and the amount of time that it can age. If you have a wine cellar, or if you have a wine cooler in which you can store your wine, you can keep this wine for quite a while, 15, 20 years maybe, and it's going to gain more complexity as it ages. So why this wine with this cheese? I think. Personally, I mean, you may disagree, but I think that this craft beer cheddar has some earthiness to it. And that earthiness, I think, matches really well the earthiness of this wine. This is a very earthy wine, even though it has good red fruit aromas, cherries primarily, which is
I was
very
going to
typical
say,
of
yeah,
Chianti.
that's what I'm getting in there, the
Yeah.
cherries.
And I
I
think
didn't
that
have
goes
such
really
a
well.
palate.
It's a nice twist together. I think there's really a nice match there.
Wow.
I agree. I think the fruitiness the cherries that I'm getting, the fruitiness balances out sort of the nuttiness and the earthiness of the cheddar. Yeah, I think great selection.
Can I just say, watching you two is amazing. Like how you can talk to each other, you speak the same language. Like you totally. I don't have such an acute palate, so just watching you guys
yes, you do.
hit all those notes that you both try in each other's products is so great to watch. Okay, so
It's a lot of fun.
Good choice.
we
good
have
choice.
we are 40 minutes down. We have 20 minutes left. I'm sure we have a ton of cheeses to try. I'm very excited to see what's next.
So what
What's
we're going to
that?
do next is
Let me know which one's our Chardonnay.
this one is Chalav Yisrael.
Use a different knife.
Sure.
Am I good or what? I got it. Is that good?
I'm sorry. One of the other things that I'd like to do real quick.
Right.
Why don't we pass around some
fruits.
green apples?
Okay, so
And in particular, there's grapes, but there's also sliced green apples.
Okay.
Green apples and cheddar are.
we're doing this like a real pairing here. We've
yeah.
got apples, fruit. I mean, we've got apples and we've got apples and we've got hold on one second, and wine and cheese. Okay, awesome sauce. Okay,
Yes.
you take that.
Fine. Thank you.
So can I hold up the next cheese before I
Yeah.
cut into it?
Okay, I'd like to take a. I'm going to hold this up to the camera for our YouTube channel. Ta-da, ta-da. It's like a boomerang.
So this cheese is a Gruyere style cheese. So Gruyere, we cannot name it Gruyere because
It's not from
Gruyere is a
Gruyere.
protected name. It does not come from the region of Switzerland.
Oh, there you go. I didn't know that. Like
So-
champagne can grapes.
Exactly.
if it's only-
Exactly.
you know the
the
whole
Europeans are pretty protective over their names.
story. Right, because
Yeah.
they've
And they should be.
also
They
been
should
in
be.
production for thousands of years, some of these things. Like,
Absolutely.
America's only 400 years old. Australia's only 200, so, there is no cheese of Sydney.
We're almost 400.
Right, but aren't you like 1770? No, that's Australia. So when
Yeah, 1776.
okay, but that's not 200 years. 400. Because Columbus sailed the ocean blue?
Yeah. We're
Okay. See-
somewhere in the middle.
Can I just say that I'm Australian? I never went to elementary school here, so I don't know all the
We're
stuff.
about
Okay.
250, 240.
240. Okay, there you go.
So, and here's the wine that we're going to be pairing with.
Okay, you brought this on the show a couple of weeks ago, okay, the Lineage brand, and you could, right?
Yeah.
I remember this, and we had this on Pesach a lot.
Yeah. Before Pesach. That's true. So before Pesach, I brought the Lineage Pinot Noir.
Yeah.
And I thought about, I needed to bring a Pinot Noir also. But I thought, I brought the Lineage Pinot Noir last time. But we're having cheeses. And in the Lineage series, there is a wonderful Chardonnay, which should pair very nicely with at least some of the cheeses that Brent would bring.
Okay.
So here we are. Wonderful wine.
So we're going to have that cheese, this Chavis roll
Gruyere style cheese,
style
which
with the apple. We're having it on the apple?
you could the
What's
the
the
apple.
best way to do this?
I would say alone for now, but
okay.
but no, the apple was sort of to follow the cheddar and also as a palate cleanser.
Okay.
But
Okay.
but it can also be used to eat
Okay.
this as well. So this one, as I said, is Chalav Yisrael, Gruyere style, made in Vermont, in the same region that I make the cheddar.
Okay.
And sorry,
Oh, that's going this way? Okay, there you go, ZK.
See, I am from Switzerland. And I grew up eating kosher Gruyere from Switzerland. And this is wonderful.
thank you.
The
You like it?
creaminess
Yeah.
is unbelievable.
So it's been aged a year.
So what am I following this with? Which one?
Okay, so the Herzog Lineage
Okay, do I have it?
Chardonnay. You got the bottle over there?
Oh, I've got the
Yeah,
bottle.
you do.
Wait, which one? Did we pour it?
Yeah, I did. Where is your glass?
I don't have it. Oh, here you go.
Sorry, I
Okay.
was hoarding
so I
them
have
all
the
by
cheese.
me.
So the Lineage series, which is a new series from Herzog Wine Cellars in California, is a series of 5 wines. There is a Cabernet Sauvignon, of course. There's a Choreograph, which is a very special blend of 12 different varieties grown in the Herzog family's Prince Vineyard in Clarksburg, California. We have this wonderful Chardonnay, also from Clarksburg. And there is also a Sauvignon Blanc and a Rosé, which I would have very much loved to bring.
Don't we have a
today.
rosé out there?
We have a rosé here.
Oh,
we're going to taste
make
also
sure we gotta get to that
a rosé with one of these cheese. But I didn't bring the Sauvignon Blanc or the rosé from Herzog simply because they have not arrived yet in New York. They're still at the winery in California, and we should get them.
I'll have a word
probably in
with
few
Joe.
weeks. In time, hopefully in a few days, so they will be here in time for Shavuot.
Okay.
But unfortunately, I couldn't bring them today.
Okay.
But the
We
Chardonnay
look forward to
is
trying
wonderful.
those.
It's got the traditional. That's why I'm happy to have the green apple that Brent brought. It has some of those green apple aromas.
So I should.
But yeah, sure,
I'm down
definitely,
fruit and wine.
definitely.
Now, was this aged in oak?
It was aged in oak for a short amount of time. Part of the wine was aged for a few months in oak. Yes.
Again, my palate is not so sophisticated, but I'm getting a little bit of oakiness.
Yeah, there's a hint of oakiness, nuttiness to it, definitely. Some creaminess, a little bit.
I'm tasting the creaminess.
And some tropical fruit aromas, which are not so common in Chardonnay wines.
This is really smooth and light
Yeah.
and creamy. And
And maybe a
I
little,
like it with apple.
little vanilla, maybe? I don't know. Yeah.
Oh, you says you don't have a cute
The
palate.
vanilla
That's
comes
amazing.
from the oak. The creaminess comes from what we call the malolactic fermentation, which is a secondary fermentation that happens at a later stage during the aging process. And for Chardonnay that's aged in oak barrels like this one, it's a process that happens while the wine is in the barrels.
Amazing. Okay, moving right along. We have
All right.
14 minutes left. We got to grab in those wines. Can we just make sure we get that rosé in?
Oh yeah, it's the
Special
last one. No
request,
problem.
special
We have
request.
also the Pinot Noir. We
Okay,
must
we
try
can do
that.
2 wines in 14
Are we going
minutes.
to taste this cheese with the
Yes.
white? Yeah,
Yeah,
great.
that'll
So
be
that
the-
will go with
See,
the Pinot Noir.
everybody's got
finally.
their requests. We're trying to get everything in.
Okay, the next one we're going to...
Make sure, everyone, before I'm just going to take 1 second there to make sure that we're doing, remind you all that we have a giveaway. You have to follow the Cheese Guy and Nachum Siegelnet.
The cheese
network.
It's the cheese guy
The-
on Instagram.
The Cheese Guy on
And-
Instagram. The THE.
and Brent the cheese guy on Facebook. I wasn't lucky enough to get the cheese guy.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
It was
crazy.
taken
So it's the Cheese Guy
on
on
Instagram.
and Brent
The cheese
the
guy.
Cheese Guy on Facebook. So make sure you follow and like, and of course, One Tabletop, who is donating a beautiful board, and we're going to announce those winners on our Instagram stories. But you got to follow both, and if you're not on Instagram, you just email me, Naomi@nachumsiegel.com, and let me know.
Let's show the camera.
Look at that ball.
This is stunning. Can I just say, this is really a beautiful, beautiful bottle. Rosé.
So it's the Chateau Rubin La Vie en Rose, life in pink.
Life in pink. I like that. I have a house of girls. It's life in pink at our house.
And we had this rosé for the first time last year, the 2016, and it was really rocking.
You want
and
some of
a
this?
huge success, and I expect as much success at least with this new 2017 release.
You think you could still man the controls after another few of these tastings?
He's just having a little bit. ZK's not allowed to drink so much because he's got to make sure we're running. He's flying the plane, remember? Okay. So what cheese are we having with this?
So we're gonna mix up the milks, the animals. So here we go with a goat. So this is a plain goat cheese, means nothing, no herbs, no flavorings. So it's plain goat cheese, creamy. This one comes from Wisconsin. I visited the small farms where this comes from. They are multi-generational family farms that have been
I love
doing
that.
this for
That's awesome.
5-6 generations, and they're just the goats are just treated so wonderfully. They're out. They don't graze like cows do. They sort of eat more like shrubs and bushes, and and the reputation of them eating almost anything is
Highland
pretty
goat.
accurate.
You know that there's an Australian song, or maybe it's British, about the Highland goat who ate the shirts off my back line. Because I'll eat anything. They ate the shirts off the washing line. So they really have a reputation of eating everything.
And it's true. It's absolutely true. So this is a fresh cheese. This is not Chalav Yisrael. and going to cut into this.
I love
one of the
goat
things,
cheese.
one of the interesting things about different animals, and we were talking about the terroir. So cheese, the flavors of cheese is determined by the type of animal. So in the kosher world, we have primarily cows, secondarily goats, third is sheep. And then actually I brought on a new cheese, which I don't have here today, but a buffalo, water buffalo milk
you've had that
cheese.
on the show before.
Yeah. So that's relatively new, and so water buffalo, milk is kosher, but so it depends. So the type of animal determines the taste of the milk, also the breed of the animal. So some of the cow, it depends which type of cow, Jerseys or Guernseys or all different breeds of cows produce different levels of fat content and different levels of protein. Same with goats and sheep. So generally the taste that you get from goats, by the way, in terms of lactose, there is lactose in it, but I hear anecdotally all the time
Goat cheese has less.
that people who are lactose intolerant,
Eat
and
goat
again,
cheese.
don't don't do this because
Test it out
but
on
I'm just
you.
telling what I hear. People tell me that goat and sheep milk cheeses are able to be tolerated, amongst
Processed in the belly better.
Yeah.
Okay.
So and generally, goat cheese has a sort of a tanginess to it.
People either love it or they don't. That's the bottom line.
That's true.
Right. So people either love goat cheese or they're like, oh, this tastes like.
Why don't we do this on a cracker? This is
Nah.
most easily.
Yeah. I love.
Can't mind
In my book,
fit
I
in
have
my
a.
hands. Can
My
I,
Pesach book has a goat cheese recipe.
Thank you, sir.
DK? Yeah. Hey. Uh-oh. We're going to be...
So good.
I'm going down either.
It's very, 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 very tangy for goat cheese.
They put
Yeah.
one here.
Yeah, no.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
It's probably the tangiest goat cheese I've ever had.
Really?
Yeah.
Was that...
In a good way.
That's
No,
good?
not in a
Good,
bad
good,
way.
good.
What do we drink this with?
So with the rosé.
Oh, okay. Here we go. I think it definitely needs
So
some.
La Vie en Rose from Chateau Rubin, 2017. Very fragrant, light. This is the summer wine par excellence.
Oh, this is the summer. This is your Shavuos wine. What's the price on this?
Around $20.
Oh, that's not the
22.
crazy money. I like. Are these all mevushal? What's the story?
Okay, so actually, of all of these wines, there's only one mevushal, and two mevushal wines. That's the Hagafen dry Riesling and the Herzog lineage Chardonnay.
Okay. These are great. I like this.
Lineage, right?
Lineage. You did it good. You did it good.
Lineage.
Oh, I say tomato.
I've been training, but
You're speaking to
Listen,
an
if we were to try... I can only speak for myself. Swiss or German or...
We cannot
You
get
said-
your accent right. You're doing amazing. Okay, this is really something. Okay, that was really cool. I really like those. Do we have another wine and another cheese?
Yeah, let me just mention on the goat cheese. This is a good time of the year to eat goat cheese
I
because
learned that from you
yeah,
about eating cheeses in seasons.
it's
Every
absolutely
season
there's a
has different-
seasonality for every season. Yeah, there's really seasonality to cheese, and I'm sure to wine as well, and all foods. Obviously, I'm looking forward to like stone fruits coming out soon, peaches and plums. Oh man, I love that. But so with the cheese. Yeah, the animals are lactating at this time of the year, so fresh milk is being produced.
'Cause it's
they're
spring.
going out. Yeah, they're going out and they're grazing, and like I mentioned with the goats, they're eating a lot of the herbs and the grasses and all kind of clover and all kinds of things, and you get that in the taste of the milk. So every batch, especially making small batch artisanal cheeses like mine, you'll get slight differences, nuances in whatever the animals are consuming. So that the seasonality absolutely plays a part in this. So we have the breeds, we have the type of animal, we have the breeds, we have the seasonality and what the animals are consuming, and then we'll go from there.
Unreal. You can really. I love the fact that you can taste the earth. I mean, isn't that what terroir means? Taste of the earth.
kind of. I mean, terroir means the
Taste of the
combination,
place.
exact taste of the place,
Right. the
combination
weather,
of the
the
soil, the
soil,
climate.
right. But that's all, like,
Yeah.
as we said, I'm keep bringing this
Again,
back to the
wine,
wine and cheese
cheese.
together.
Mhm.
This is amazing. Do we have another wine and cheese to try? Because we've
Sure.
got about 5 minutes left, and I think it'd be great
we've got
So,
two.
to continue
one last cheese and one
educating
last
everyone.
wine.
I've got actually two more.
Two more. Okay,
Should
so let's
I-
do both.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. We can move fast.
Exactly.
All right. So I wanted to mix up the animals, as I mentioned. This is Chalav Yisrael, CY, as we call it.
Yeah, I
Or-
was right, CY.
Or in the trade, for those that are not as familiar with the term CY or Chalav Yisrael,
Yeah.
we call it super kosher.
Yeah, is that what they call it?
Yeah, absolutely. I just came from Whole Foods. I had a meeting with one of the
for you.
regional buyers. Yeah, if I can give a plug to the products are now in what's called planogram. So in the every new Whole Foods, and there's about 40 or 50 Whole Foods in the New York area alone, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, we are in a little section of every new Whole Foods that goes up. So we're in 40 or 50 Whole Foods. The cheese guy has a little presence in every one of the stores.
I'm so proud of you.
Thank you. Had a great meeting with the buyer just now. We were talking especially about the craft beer cheddar and the Bronx Brewery pairing that we're going to be doing, and so yeah, it's exciting. So the
I see there's a rind there. Do we cut the rind off? Is that rind?
the rind is edible. It's definitely a natural edible rind. It tends to be a little bit too strong for many, but you're welcome to it. And this is a CY, as mentioned, Chalav Yisrael cheese. And this is sheep milk. This comes from the island of Sardinia, Italy. And my wife and I have had the
So let's pour the wine.
the pleasure and the honor of meeting with these small farmers that where the sheep are grazing in the fields, and you can definitely taste the difference, right?
Richness.
Yeah.
Can you taste the difference in cow's milk versus the sheep and the goat?
I can definitely tell the difference with the goat.
Just to give you an idea how much milk is produced, so cows produce about 12 to 20 gallons per cow a day of milk,
Oh, really?
and goats, about 4 gallons, only 4 gallons.
Much more. That's why goat cheese is
And-
always so little.
It is. It's a lot more
Cows and goats.
expensive to obtain the milk, and then sheep only produce a couple of quarts a day per sheep. So to give you a
Okay, that's
perspective,
even right. Wow.
on
So
how
cow,
little-
goat, sheep. Wow.
right? But sheep milk yields a lot more cheese because it's higher in fat and higher in protein. So the sheep milk yields a lot more cheese than the others, but it is a lot more difficult to and more timely and more
This is
expensive and
Amazing.
time consuming is what I was going to say.
This is really good. And I'm not the biggest red wine drinker. This is delicious.
Okay, so here we have the Vitkin Pinot Noir. May not be my first choice of this cheese, truthfully. Would go wonderfully with the goat cheese we had before, and there's another cheese on it. Which one is it? Top, the Vermont Bloom. That would go absolutely great together. With
Oh,
the
what
Pinot
a
Noir.
combination this is!
That was amazing.
Outstanding.
I love the combinations of food. Every recipe's built like that by adding this combination to that combination to that combination, the amounts and the ratios, and voila, you have a recipe.
Do I
But
get
the
any-
same thing with this.
Any
It's all
black
about-
cherries in here?
Yeah, black cherries,
Okay.
Can you taste that?
Yeah.
black cherries, red currants, raspberries. Those are typical aromas in Pinot Noir. So Pinot Noir originally comes from the Burgundy region in France, which is a pretty cold, rainy area climate. Very different from Israel's. Yet there are a few Pinot Noir made in Israel. Not all of them are really good, but this is definitely one of the best. The Vitkin Pinot Noir.
Bitkin. I never heard of this one.
Very
From
nice.
the Ella Valley. I've heard of the Ella Valley.
Uh-huh.
This was
Which
unreal.
is in the Judean Hills.
Okay.
Ella Valley is really right next to Bet Shemesh.
Oh,
So
there
it's
you
pretty
go.
close to Yerushalayim. It's about 40 minutes from Yerushalayim. And Asaf Baz, the winemaker and co-owner of Vitkin Winery, He really makes fantastic Pinot Noir. Does a great job with this variety. It's a lighter red. It's not as heavy as most Cabernet Sauvignon are, and the body of the wine, which is light to medium, the texture of the wine, which is soft, even a little bit velvety, goes wonderfully, especially with goat cheese, but also with some other more saltier cheeses. And as you can see here, the combination is fantastic.
I cannot believe the information that you guys both have. This has been an incredible hour. CK's like, we got to start wrapping it up.
Can we do one last? Do we have time?
We are out of time.
You're past chocolate.
We're at,
We have a brie. We have a brie style cheese.
Let's do the Vermont Bloom. It's amazing.
This is Gabriel's favorite.
This is Table for Two with Naomi Nachman on the Nachum Siegel Network. We have music right up to the Lichtbenching with sponsored by our friends at Kedem. Mark Zomick is coming up next with his Erev Shabbos show. Wishing everyone Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Take care.
Shabbat Shalom.
Bye.